Okay, comes video on Sunday, the 10th September 2023, just gone 2:26 a.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So it's the weekend and time for another weekend futures market recap. We'll go through 15 of the largest futures markets and I'll show you what I'm seeing on my charts. A little bit worried that in today's video the noise cancelling is not going to be all that effective. We're in a bit of a noisy location. We've changed locations, having spent the last month in Avignon in the middle of Provence. It was absolutely glorious. Highly recommend that as a location to go hang out for a while. And we've moved to Biarritz and we're some short-term accommodation before moving into our long-term accommodation on Monday. And it's a little bit noisy here. Plus it's stinking hot and I've got the windows open. So the summer will not end here in France. 10th of September and it's still gloriously warm, which some people like. I don't. I like the winters, but anyway, that is just me. So let's talk charts. We'll go through the E-mini charts first, all the way down from the daily to the 15-minute charts, and then the tip bar charts with the triple signals on to show you what I'm seeing at the moment. And I'd note this last week, a little bit of a nothing week. I do not think we have properly bottomed here to be able to rally and test the highs into 4,700. And I'll show you why that is as we go down through the timeframes here. Daily chart, the background is in red, which is because both in terms of price and volume, we're in an uptrend. But we've topped out temporarily after our bearish divergence signal here on better momentum that came with Rambo patterns, a potential reversal of an amateur breakout. So that activity was being led by the amateurs up here at the highs. And having sold off, we got caught by our cyclical energy here. The pullback level printed a little bit earlier as we go through that, but that cyclical energy to hold us here has been playing out. You can see that's because we have the cross on the thinnest lines here working its way out from this negative 100 level up to 100. So cyclically on the daily chart, we still have some upward energy to play itself out, but I'm not sure we've done enough damage on the downside here on the short-term charts to be able to hold and play out. So I'm stuck. I'm in two minds which way we'll go at the moment. I'm actually holding a short position in the E-mini over the weekend because I don't think that we've seen enough blue professional bars coming in the lows on Thursday and Friday, but we'll roll through the charts and you tell me whether you agree or not. So the daily chart here, we're still playing out this energy until we get across on the E-mini here, which will signal that short-term wise we've played out our strength here and we'll be testing down into those lows. Now I'm going to show you a chart of the Nasdaq, and it's actually the Qs, the ETFs here, because here the energy has played itself out over the last couple of days and that pullback to end of trend pattern has gone off here. On the Qs it happens to be a cyclical end of trend pattern here. It's slightly different on the futures markets, but it's a cyclical resistance area that we've played out too. So just bear that in mind that on some of the indices charts, this energy has played itself out. On others, we still have a couple of days to go. So I'm not sure what to think about that. We're in this no man's land where the professionals haven't stepped in, I don't think, en masse enough to give us a clear signal that the bottom's been put in this little bit of a cycle and we're going to continue to power on. So let's go down some time frames. The 135-minute chart, background's in red, so we're in an uptrend technically here, but no blue professional bars. There hasn't been for a while here to give us clues. And we could easily just drop through this pullback level here, and that would signal us into background in black, which would show we're indeterminate in terms of trend direction there on the 135-minute chart here. 45-minute chart, you can see that we bounced from the previous week up here. We hit Rambo patterns at those highs with exhaustion buy pattern. So that's unstable there, and that's why we've dropped down here. But we'd expect some blue professional bars to step in at some point to show that this downward move is over. And the background's in white here on the price bars, which means in terms of price on the 45-minute chart, we're in a downtrend here. We've got no blue professional bars. The last one that came in here wasn't particularly helpful. So we could easily just drop off until we find that blue professional bar step in here at some point. We ratchet up the trailing stop on better pro-am, and this breaks back into an uptrend and all's good, and we go test those highs, 4,600, 4,700 here. So on the 15-minute chart here, we've been in a downtrend this week. That's the background in grey. We've had some blue professional bars step in at the lows here, had a little bit of a rally from there, but it's not convincing. It's not an exhaustion pattern, not a blue professional bars. You can see better momentum here is just cycling around the zero line here and just going nowhere. So this potentially, has got to play itself out on the 15-minute chart on the way down. And then on the tip bar chart, the last blue professional bar that we had here was on that retrace here, not on the lows. Those exhaustion sell patterns here were almost getting the move going. So I think we're in danger of going to test those lows until we see blue professional bars and exhaustion patterns properly come in at those lows. You can see here a bit of momentum again cycling around the zero line without much direction there. So I don't like the way that TradeStation adjusts for rollovers, and I use that adjustment on the data in order to get that right. But even with that adjustment, you can see on Friday's activity here, a whole bunch of low average trade size. Nothing really much happened on Friday. And although we got a little bit of a break here below that trailing stop on Better Pro-Am, and seemingly we moved into an uptrend here with the background in red, which just dropped off, it wasn't particularly convincing. And because we've had no blue professional bars on those lows, I just don't think the bottom is in yet on the E-mini. What would be nice is that we get a proper exhaustion pattern on the way down, something of this greed, minus 15,000 on the tip bar chart, and blue professional bars start to come in. So I think I'm comfortable holding my short on the E-mini at the moment, but wait and see how this opens up on Sunday into Monday. Anyway, so there we go. That's what I think is happening on the E-mini. Let's go to the tip bar charts, and we'll go through the Forex charts first because we've had some nice signals over the last week and a half on the euro and the British pound. So here's the triple signals on the euro that came in last week. Remember, a triple signal is when the three non-correlated indicators come together: better momentum, better sine wave, better pro-am. When they're all in the same direction, we get triple signals that showed the beginning of a trending move. These signals are signal short, the dotted vertical white lines, and they happened after exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, were overbought with the background in grey, and then we dropped through a trailing stop on Better Pro-Am. And the euro sold off quite nicely this last week. But have we done enough damage on the downside? There's no exhaustion sell at the lows down here. We actually have an exhaustion buy here, almost like short covering rally at that point. We've got some blue professional bars coming in at the lows, but not a heap here, and we've broken back down to 107. So it's weak at the moment on the euro. British pound, we had similar signals again at the end of last week there. That was nice. Blue professional bars come in, we break the lows of that. Bearish divergence, overbought, bang, we cut off. And again down here, no blue professional bars come in. The last one was on this little dip, this point here. Yes, we've had exhaustion, sell and bullish divergence, but no blue professional bars, and that's why the trailing stop is miles away at the moment on British pound. So that's British pound. Aussie, I don't think the Aussie signaled. Yeah, the last signals we had were 2 weeks ago. We had a real sell-off here. It didn't signal like the others because we weren't overbought. The background wasn't in grey at that point, although we had exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, blue professional bars get broken to the downside. This nice fall that we had in the Aussie dollar, so that's why there was no triple signals there. Japanese yen continues to weaken and weaken. We're down at 67.75, amazing. Here we didn't have exhaustion buy at these highs, so that didn't signal here. But down here at the lows, at least we got some blue professional bars trying to hold it down here. Really that exhaustion sell seems to be getting the move going rather than ending the move. It's not happening down here. So the yen is still weakening, the USD is still strengthening. So let's look at the 10-year next. So the 10-year, nice signals last week to go short after exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, we're overbought, blue professional bars, bang. And down here at the lows, we don't have a whole bunch of blue professional bars, we don't have exhaustion sell yet. So 10 years still in a downtrend. And let's look to the E-mini, so the 13,500 in terms of signals. So last week, in the beginning of this week, nice signals up there at the highs, and we kind of fall off. We've had a signal at the end of this week, but that is based on the exhaustion sell bullish divergence happening a ways away back here, and that in my view is getting the move going. So this for me is false signal. We don't have enough blue professional bars down here to hold it. So early in this next week we might get a reversal signal, but before we get that, I think we've got to see blue professional bars coming at those lows and another big read on better momentum on the way down. So still think we're in a downtrend on the E-mini and all of those kind of risk on currencies. So there we go. That's the Forex charts, the 10-year and the E-mini. Let's look at the precious metals. Gold. No signals last week, no signals this week. We didn't have signals short because we didn't have exhaustion buy at those highs. So with silver, we're coming back down into this $23 zone, which was important. The blue professional bars have started to come in. Exhaustion sell bullish divergence. We haven't broken the trailing stop yet, although it's overbought at that point. So maybe silver's going to signal long this week. And Bitcoin continues to be super volatile. So I bought the long signal here a couple of weeks ago into these highs. All those blue professional bars come in, take profits. We get a signal short. All the blue professional bars come back in, exhaustion sell. And this week it's trying to hold and rally, but it's failed at that point. Blue professional bars come in and we drop below the lows. So it's a failed break on Bitcoin at the moment. Let's see what happens to that this week. Crude. So crude powered on to, we almost reached 88 here on crude, which is unbelievable. Good signals a couple of weeks ago. This one was early. I got out at 83 on this move here on a 1100 tip bar chart, and I didn't really recognize the importance of these blue professional bars. Continue to buy on through that break of those highs at 83. That's a whole bunch of blue professional bars just powering through, buying everything in sight to get this move going. And we've not seen anything like that since. So no blue professional bars at those highs, no exhaustion buy at those highs. So any dip that we see, if we see blue professional bars step in, ratchet up, better pro-am, that'll be an opportunity to buy on that dip and retest back up to 87s and 88s on crude. So that is continuing to rally. Natural gas, no signals this week, no exhaustion sell down here. Some blue professional bars caught it at 250. Starting to rally a little bit there, but no signals at that point on natural gas. And copper. So copper trying to hold at the moment. We've had some signals, but that's based on exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, which were getting the move going. So they're spurious signals down there. So we're still in a downtrend on copper. Then lastly, the ags. Let's look at corn at the moment. Signal this week, but not a whole bunch of blue professional bars on those lows. So that's weak and signaled back down. Soybeans, this ended up being a good signal. We retest here for a stair-step trade here. So stair-step is we don't see on the break, no blue professional bars down here. On the retrace though, that's where all the blue professional bars come in. We test it again. You can see here blue professional bar comes in on that retrace and then bang, we sell off again. So we're in a downtrend on soybeans. And lastly, wheat. Wheat is trying to hold down here with signals at the end of last week. Get a little bit of a break, but it doesn't work. So we're maybe trying to hold down here around 600 on wheat. So what do you think? I don't think we're done on the downside on the E-mini. I think we've got to see more blue professional bars coming on the lows. Still holding my position short at the moment. I think I'm comfortable with that. But let's wait and see how Sunday, Monday opens up. But still hoping for a proper exhaustion pattern on the way down before this thing turns around. Hope your trading is going well and looking forward to next week's trade.